Welcome to another episode of Influence and Growth Mastery. Today, I have with me Jeffrey Gatlin with Gatlin Empire Consulting, and we're going to be discussing merchant services, something that I have experience with actually. And we're also going to be talking about how he can assist you with credit repair services. If you're listening and you have not yet subscribed to this channel, what in the world are you waiting for? Do it right now. Jeffrey, it is a pleasure to have you on the show today. Please take just a minute and share with the community who you are and a little bit about Gatlin Empire Consulting.
I really appreciated, Tanya, you having me on your podcast. Pretty much, I'm kind of like a one-stop shop. I'm just a person that I have experience in a lot of different fields. First of all, I just want to say, I have 2 business degrees in business management. I've been working in corporate America and different industries for over 20 years. I've worked for law firms. I used to be a legal bill collector. Like I mentioned, I've worked for JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo. So I have a lot of different extensive, backgrounds in this type of field. So Gatlin Empire Consulting is just like a one-stop shop. I mean, I do merchant accounts, merchant cash advances. I just do pretty much everything, business credit repair. And I'm actually, like I said, I'm licensed in the state of Arkansas. So I'm an actual business. I've been in business here in Arkansas since 2018. So whatever you throw at me, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find the answer and we'll come up with a resolution.
I love it. We'll make it up, won't we? We'll make it up.
Right.
So you've worked for big giants, as you mentioned, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo. Tell me and tell the audience how those experiences in the Fortune 500 companies have shaped your perspective on the merchant services industry.
Well, as far as the merchant services industry, it's just like right up my alley. Because at the end of the day, these merchants need to be able to accept debit and credit cards. But as me and you both know, that business is a very complex thing. A lot of people go into business and they don't know anything about running a business. There's a lot of people that are able to make money, but they don't know how to actually structure their business, license the business, set everything up, what type of business structure, LLC, sole proprietorship. So the thing about me working in the Fortune 500 realm and working for these big corporations is that I go in, I work for them and I absorb all of that knowledge. And then I take that knowledge with my knowledge and I just kind of bundle it all together and I'm able to present that to my clients and give them the education, and I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I'm here to help people. I do this because I really like to help people and I like, business owners to prosper. I don't like to see people going out of business and going bankrupt and, things like that.
So having a consulting business like you have and having all of this diverse education, knowledge, experience that you have, that to me is what makes a consulting business so powerful, because just like you said, you can take your knowledge mixed with the experience that you have from working with all of these various companies and what you've learned there and what they do, and combine all of that together and help a business get off on the right foot from the beginning stages all the way up to growing that business. Yeah. And so helping them understand all those various structures that they need to get set up right from the very start and not make bad decisions or make mistakes that other people have made. So let's talk about So since you have all this diverse background, what it actually inspired you to go into the merchant services industry specifically?
Well, it's like I've always had like a love for traditional business, like entertainment,
Hmm.
management. Like that's just my personality. I'm always the type of guy that I'm a problem solver. You know, people come to me with all types of problems and I just solve them. And, it's just like I'm tired of making other people rich. I've made people millions of dollars. Being a legal bill collector, I used to collect $50,000 a month. Skip tracing, doing short sales on properties for City Financial, and I just was like looking for something different. And I was living in Atlanta. I used to live in Atlanta for like 10 years, and I was just looking around for something that's like an independent contractor. And I was like online on Google and I saw something about merchant services and I kind of had heard about it, but I thought it was like some type of scam or something. Like, I'm like, that's not anything, and then make a long story short, I got into it and I did very well in it. And it's like a untapped market. And at the end of the day, like I said, these merchants, they're going with Venmo, Cash App, all of these different services, but it doesn't provide you protection. It doesn't give you the ability to be able to, to actually show your income, and I can't just go too deep into it because people have
Right.
to really pay me for the information. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the merchant industry, I just saw the type of money that could be made, and just being able to help people, man. Because at the end of the day, I really like to help people. I like to see
Hmm.
people prosper. So
Yeah.
definitely, it's a good industry.
Yeah. So people that are new to the topic of merchant services, can you briefly explain what the merchant services industry entails and why it is essential for
Well,
businesses?
it's essential because number one, it's more professional. You go to your beauty salon, your barber shop. They're like, hey, what's your Cash App name? What's this? At the end of the day, it's more of a business bank account. That's pretty much what it is. That's structured, and it's just for you to process debit and credit cards, to give your
Mhm.
customers a different avenue and a different way to pay you. Everybody is
Mhm.
not walking around with cash. That's old school. But the thing about it is, you've heard the horror stories. You've heard people going with Cash App and getting robbed, like people hacking their Cash App, taking their money. Cash App doesn't help you. When you have a merchant account, you have a 24-hour line. You have protection where we're going to protect you. We're going to be there to pick up the phone. Tanya, do you know a number to Cash App? Do they have a 1-800 number? Right. So that's
No,
my point right there.
yeah. Yeah, there's, when you're dealing with, Cash App and Venmo and all of those things. I mean, is it easy? Yes, but is it more complicated when things happen? Yes. So, when you're dealing with merchant services, it's like going to Walmart or to Dillard's or to Target, and you're putting your card in to the machine and dealing with making your payments through a merchant in that form or fashion. And there is some liability that's on their end versus your end if there is some theft that
Right.
happens,
Right.
and so you as a um, as a client or as a customer are protected up to a certain limit if
Right.
something were to happen. And so yes, and so from the merchant standpoint, you from a situation of security, but also of reputation and those types of things. You want that protection because your business, your brand, and those things are at risk when if you're not using something like that. And you want that process to be easy for your client.
Right.
So yeah, so you've got those various different types of things that as a brand new business, you've got options, but you want those options to be easy for your client. So what are some
Right.
of the challenges that businesses might have today and not realize that you, Jeffrey, can assist them with?
I would say number one is that I'm an independent sales organization. So at the end of the day, I'm the boss. So, yes, I work and I partner with other companies. But at the end of the day, if I know I have a qualified merchant, I deal directly with the CEO and the operations, team. So I'm able to say, for instance, if you're in a situation where you have a Clover machine and you're in a dead end contract for 3, 4 years, and they're, pretty much those fees are gonna it's gonna sometimes it put people puts people out of business. So we're able to totally. I have a program where I could completely eliminate all of your processing fees. You pay zero. You only pay for your equipment and your software fees, which is very minuscule. So I would say that a lot of just to answer your question, a lot of the challenges is that a lot of these merchants, like I said, they have issues where they're getting their money taken through Cash App. They're having issues with we have a 24-hour team. So for instance, if you're processing debit and credit cards and your machine goes down, who are you going to call in a lot of cases, and me personally, if I'm, if you're a part of, my organization and you're my customer, I'll personally come and assist you. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's late on a Friday night or it's a weekend or whatever, and I'm
Right.
struggling and I can't get through to customer service to assist me, then I have you.
Yep.
I have that personal relationship with you that I can reach out to, which then
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can reach out to your team and contacts then to get me some assistance. And so those are
Exactly.
some of the challenges that
Hmm.
that you can help me with.
Yep.
And so you mentioned too that businesses can save money with their processing fees. Can you walk us through how you can offer competitive rates in the industry today?
Well, we have a program called Cash Discount where pretty much all of the fees are passed off to the customer. People do it every day. You go into a grocery store, they say you have to spend $5 minimum. That's illegal. That's a $5,000 fine through the state. You cannot do your own surcharge to your customers because there's contracts with Visa and MasterCard that prohibit merchants from being able to do surcharging. So basically, you go in and you spend $30, it may be $30.03 to the customer. There'll be signage that'll be on the top of your desk if it's a retail store. So it'll let them know that they would get a discount by paying with cash. And if you want to pay with a debit or credit card, it'll be just a small surcharge that'll be added to the customer's ticket. A lot of merchants, they get scared about it, but at the end of the day, you do it every day. These customers don't care. They are there to support your business. You shouldn't be
Mhm.
paying $3,800, $4,000 to accept debit and credit cards. You should have that breathing room and you can take those funds and invest it back in your business. Go get your home upgraded, go on a trip with your family.
Yeah, I see that often, at merchant locations where effective X date, if they're putting it into place, that there will be a 3% surcharge
Right.
if using a debit card, or, cash is accepted, but if using a card, X amount
Right.
will be charged to your card.
And let me say this just real quick, but they do have the option. If you want to pay for the customer's processing, your machine will come equipped with the option for you to waive the cash discount, and you can pay the fee for the customer if you like.
Got it. That's good to know. So excuse me. So how do you see in the future of the merchant services industry evolving, especially with the rise of cryptocurrency and digital payments?
Well, I mean, it's already pretty much kind of coming together, because you do have merchant services companies that do offer the ability for a customer to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. But with me, it's primarily we're just kind of, with the basic credit debits.
Yeah.
We can set you up to accept EBT, food stamps. We have a lot of different other things, that gift cards. In some cases, like I said, I mentioned I'm a third party. I'm a 1099 contractor, third party, but we have options for merchant cash advances, where you can take a advance based on your future receivables. So we have a lot of different options, that it's not just merchant. It's pretty much around, it's a very well-rounded financial option, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about how, because you've done this for quite some time, and you've worked with quite a few people, and you've made a great name for yourself, both in, the credit, the merchant services side, working for, large companies, credit repair, trade line sectors. So for the community and for my tribe, could you explain the difference between the two, credit repair and trade line sectors, and how they interrelate?
Well, it's kind of all kind of works together. It's kind of a little bit more so. Like I said, I do the merchant accounts. I do personal credit repair. I also do business credit. I do trade lines. I'm a trade line broker. So it's like everything kind of falls in tandem with each other, because a lot of the times you have people that, when it comes to credit, a lot of people are trying to obtain a certain goal. Like a person may come to me like, Jeff, my credit is shot. I had a lot of medical bills, credit cards, blah, 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 and I'm trying to get a house. They have a certain deadline. So based upon your budget and your situation, I can accommodate any of those type of situations to help people out. So it all kind of runs in tandem, business credit, personal credit. I'm just, like I mentioned, a one-stop shop. I've done so many different things. I'm a multi-talented person. So whatever you bring to the table, I can pretty much assist you with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm being that multi-talented. I feel like I have that skill set too, from all those years in banking, which I love, because that helps us, do what we do for so many entrepreneurs and small business owners, and sometimes you probably feel the way that I feel, because sometimes it's hard for me to stay in my lane. I'm like, okay, you got to go back and niche down again, because you're kind of getting out of your lane again. It's like you can't just do, you can't just do everything, Tanya. Because I was just on this networking call, and I'm like, I can do that. I can do that. And then
Right,
I'm like,
right.
oh my gosh, if I keep doing all these things, I'm going to be this stressed out, overwhelmed person again. And so I'm like, okay,
It's like I just it's more of like time management, you know.
yes, you got to
Um,
will yourself back in.
People
And
like I mean earlier today, I mean I was literally on a conference call. I had these headphones on. I had a whole nother iPhone, and I had one cord going to this ear, calling a customer about,
oh my
you
Lord.
know, I mean, but to me, it's easy. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, a lot of people are talented at being a mechanic. People are talented at, I don't know, landscaping and being outside in the heat at 100-degree weather. You know, that's not me. You know, I'm just a
No.
person that I I work smarter, not harder. So I would say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so what are some of the misconceptions or the myths that you've come across regarding trade lines, and how do you address those?
Well, at the end of the day, everybody's not going to be happy. I can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm a legit person. I know that I'm a real business owner. I've never been in any type of situation. You come to me with a situation, I'm going to be a problem solver. So that's kind of like why I got into being a consultant, is because I have so much knowledge and information that is so valuable that I should be paid for it. And it's very great information. I'm not one of these kind of people that, you know, say that they know and they claim. Like, I really know what I'm talking about. So that's why I, you know, call my company Gatlin Empire, because it's, you know, an empire and a conglomerate that's growing, and it's just going to be just going to keep, you know, keep getting bigger and bigger, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, can you share with us a success story or a case study where your services have made significant difference for somebody's business or their financial situation? I guess without giving names, we don't want to do that, but
Right, right, right. Back in 2007, I was working for a law firm, um, and it was in Atlanta. And I met a customer, and he was in a situation to where it was right before the housing market crashed. He was in California, so he sold his house for $500,000. And, you know, I was doing some work with him, and he kind of asked me, you know, he pretty much wanted to hire me offline. And to be totally honest with you, I quit my job, and I took him on as a client. I told him, hey, man, this is the, you know, I need you to obtain all your letters. I need all of the information I would need, and I need a down payment. And I went to work, and I saved him probably 50 grand, uh, fixing his credit for him, and his credit shot through the roof. And also, you know, I ended up, you know, running into like 50 grand, you know, at, you know, in my early 20s, you know, starting my credit repair business, because it was like, I was, you know, I think I kind of got that from working for these like law firms, and like, you know, because I used to work for Blockbuster. That was my first job, you know, and a friend of the family kind of told me about a collection agency, and I just got into it, and I was just like a natural. And I'm like, man, if I'm bringing in this 50, $80,000 a month, making these people rich, I can do that on my own, and I can, you know, so that's kind of where it started, and I just started to notice I was a natural at it. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
that was. It's many other ones, but I think that was like my first big deal, and I will never forget that.
Yeah, that's pretty inspiring. So, so what are some of the challenges then that you faced and that you learned from that helped you reach this success?
I think it was just. I know that it was just a situation to where you live and you learn. You know, you go through life. You know, a lot of people want to make a lot of money, but a lot of people don't understand that it's a big responsibility on keeping money. You know, I mean, I've seen things where basketball players, this guy has a $100 million contract and now he's broke, you know. So I think that it's just living life and just realizing your mistakes and just being more like sometimes it's harder to be independent, but it's the reward. And also one thing too, another thing I would say is people, every time I've been successful, I had to take risk. And I'm not saying going out and just jumping off the bridge. It's calculated risk. You have to take risk. You have to invest in yourself. And a lot of the times I've been through things, I've lost money, made money. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about learning from your mistakes and moving forward. Don't look back and just keep going. And eventually you'll find your niche. That's what I'll say.
Well, yeah, and you have to, you know, like you say, you have to learn from those mistakes, you know, and do your best not to make those mistakes again. I mean, pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep going. I mean, you mentioned the basketball players. There's so much truth to that. Look at, I mean, how many times have we heard about the lottery winners? Right. They win so much money and then they say, I mean, statistics say within 5 years, those millions of dollars that they've won is gone and they're broke again.
Exactly.
And so, you know, they need a coach, they need a mentor when they win that money to teach them how to, I guess, number one, invest it, how to live life. And I mean, I think that's why so many of us, as we're growing our businesses, we hire coaches to help us grow our businesses and not make the mistakes that other people, you know, have made in the past, or to get to the freedom life that we all want to get to faster, you know, quicker, faster, better than doing it on our own, because we want to know how other people have done it. And so we pay people to help us get there.
Exactly.
And without that, without having the knowledge of the other people that have done it, where would we be? I mean, snail's pace.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I would be.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, I have all of the knowledge that I learned of being successful in my career job, and I did it. I learned it all on my own and having mentors. But there's no way I could even be, I don't think, where I am today in my entrepreneurship had it not been for hiring coaches. And even though I am where I am, I still hire coaches.
Exactly. And we're always learning every day. You know, I'm more like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have any type of mentors, or I've never, you know, had to hire anybody, but I will if it came down, if that person had the knowledge. I'm willing to invest in myself. Everybody wants to be cheap. Everybody thinks that, you know, why do you think that these colleges are making billions of dollars? Because that's why they have colleges for this stuff. And it's always ever changing. So you have to have the knowledge. You know, that's why I'm a free consultant to my family, you know, to my girl and, you know, different people, because I have the knowledge and I'm like, hey, you don't need to go do that. You need to do this. You know, everybody needs that. And, you know, I think that those lottery people, we should have listings as consultants, just like a notary. You know, if you need a notary, they have a list of consultants, you know, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about, you know, you you offer your business consulting services, and based upon your experience, what's the most common mistakes that startups make, and how can they avoid it that you see, in your space?
First thing, like you just mentioned, they need to hire somebody like me or you, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, everybody wants to go on the internet. They want to go on YouTube and TikTok and all of that. Oh, I'm gonna get some free information. At the end of the day, you get what you pay for. When you know that somebody has been working in the industry for 20 plus years, 30 plus years,
Mhm.
you're not going to find the information for free on the internet. These people are trying to get YouTube views and get ad revenue off of you and get you to click and clickbait. Sit down and hire somebody, like me or you. And, they don't know anything about business. Everybody cannot just start a business. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to go to the Secretary of State and give me an LLC, Articles of Incorporation, go get a business license, and I'm going to be this big, successful entrepreneur. It's levels and steps that you have to go through to get to that point. And, I hear a lot of people they say, well, how can you tell a millionaire how to make $1 million? At the end of the day, I've been in a situation where I could have been in those situations and made that kind of money, but I'm living proof and I have the knowledge on how not to make those same mistakes. How you can take $1 million and turn it into $10 million. But if because sometimes it comes down to just little steps. If
Mhm.
I would have just did this one little thing, I could have, obtained this level of certain success. So at the end of the day, they need to really get with somebody who's knowledgeable and quit being cheap and trying to go to TikTok and YouTube and get free information and think that that's going to get you to where you need to get to, and it's not.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, while I love YouTube and I love all of
Right,
those things,
right,
it gives us information, but it leaves out the how to
right,
do it.
right, right.
Um, you refer yourself as a one-stop shop and a jack of all trades. I love how you say that, because almost every time I talk to you, I hear you say that, and I love it. And so how do you ensure that you remain on top of all of those areas and everything that you're involved in without spreading yourself so thin? Because a while ago you said, earlier today I had on these headphones and I had this one earpiece in this ear and I was doing this thing on my iPad. We can do that and we can multitask and we can do all these things, but we also have to be so careful sometimes that we don't spread ourselves too thin. How do you take care of Jeffrey? How do you make sure that you don't go into overwhelm?
Well, I just want to get at as that's just a blessing of me. Everybody is not Jeffrey Gatlin. I wouldn't advise you to do what I do, because I the thing about it is what a lot of people say, oh, you do this, you might, with someone else, you might drop the ball. At the end of the day, you have to think that it's just like going and fishing. I'm throwing my fishing pole out. I might have some worms, some crickets. You know, um, these a lot of these situations are not involving money. If this was a situation where someone has hired me for a service, that person is going to get my full attention. But I dibble and dabble in different types of, businesses and different types of realms to get to the point where I'm able to secure a deal and a situation where I can get a monetary amount that, sets me straight. I'm the type of person, a lot of people, they're happy with making 30, 35, 40, $50,000 a year. In a lot of these situations, I could make $50,000 in one day, with situations. So no, if someone hires me for a service, I'm not going to spread myself too thin, because everything that I do is all time management in order of importance.
Yeah. Everything requires a certain amount of attention, and everything is going to get the proper amount of attention.
Exactly.
I believe is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly.
Everything is going to get the proper amount of attention that it needs.
Exactly.
So if someone that is listening to the episode, whether it's on one of the 14 channels of the podcast or listening to it on YouTube, and they want to reach out to you for one of your services, how do they find you, Jeffrey? Where can they contact you?
Well, as far as contacting me, I mean, you can have my phone number. I can give you my number here. Is that cool?
That's up to you. If you want to list your phone number out for the public, or they can reach out to you on Facebook or Alignable, and we'll put whatever you give, we'll put that out on the show notes. So it's strictly up to you.
Yeah, my phone number is area code 501-297-5190. 501-297-5190. That's my cell phone. Or you can reach me at my email, Gatlin Empire, Gatlin Empire, EMPIRE @gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, this has been a great conversation, and I thank you so much for joining us today. In closing, is there any words of wisdom in building a business or anything like that you want to share with the audience?
I would just say that if you're going to get in and you want to be a business owner, just know it's not easy. You're not going to get rich overnight. You're not going to go and get in cryptocurrency and become some guru or, I think just be realistic about your business. Make sure that whatever your business is, there's a need for that business. No matter what's the situation, whether it's COVID, whether it's any type of situation that's going on, you have a business need. And make sure that you have an audience as well. Don't go and say you're going to be a clothing line and go out and buy $5,000 worth of shirts and you don't have anybody to sell them to. Make sure you build an audience, invest your money in marketing and advertising. Make sure that you go out and you talk to people. A lot of people like to sit on the internet all the time. The internet is fine, but it's still old school guerrilla marketing. Go out, get you some flyers, build your website, and just go from there. And I appreciate you having me on your show. And I just wish everybody the best.
Well, thank you so much, Jeffrey. It's definitely been a pleasure having you on today. And if any of you need to reach out to him, do so on the contact information that he has shared, and we will definitely put that in the show notes. And if any of you need me, you know that I help entrepreneurs grow and monetize their visibility and influence without spending 24/7 doing it and creating overwhelm. We do this by providing you a growth strategy blueprint and a framework through private coaching. And I'm so excited to announce that we have group coaching on its way. Yay. And you know that you can DM me on Facebook or through Alignable if you're interested. And we will determine if we're a good fit together, or a good fit to work together. And do not disconnect from this podcast. As you know, if you have not yet subscribed to our podcast. And until next week, have a blessed week, and we will see you on another episode of Influence and Growth Mastery very soon. Bye.